masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to say. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college turned out me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Let that fuse and run. Whoa, let that fuse and run. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to sing. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college done up me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I say, whoa, I am my father's son. Let that fuse and run. Whoa, let that fuse and run. My masters in truth and loyalty. Bang out the buzzword, teaching that blind man to say. You might get the best of him, but you'll never fool me. Now, sweet talk to beast, dog tail jack to go and fetch your bang. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college turned out me. Couldn't get my masters in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa.
Yo, what is up, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium? It's your guy Swank. It is Tuesday night. It is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for the K-Gun Report. That is right. Brought to you by Buff Fanbase and 26 Shirts. We'll talk more about that later. We have a very special guest, Mr. Dean Kindig, tonight, the Fanbase's expert on all things draft. We're going to go over his picks, answer your questions, do a mock draft. It's going to be a really great time. He's a super smart guy, and we're super excited to have him on. Of course, I got those knucklehead Reed brothers with me, and we'll get at it right after this.
Hey Bills Mafia, you're watching 24/7 Buff Fandemonium's The K-Gun Report, part of the Buffalo Fan Base Network, and sponsored by 26 Shirts.
Ooh, that's right. That beautiful commercial made by our own Jared Reed.
Good job, Jerry.
You did so good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as stated in the intro, right diagonal from me, I always get messed up when there's 4 people here, but it's down there. He's down there. Our guy, Dean Kindig. Dean, how are you doing tonight? Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm great. I'm loving this subject that we've decided to talk about, the draft.
It is upon us. Right
Yes.
around the corner.
Basically, if we're talking about anything else except for gardening, I'm pretty much a dunce. So I'm glad you zeroed right in on my area of expertise. So
Yeah, I'm going on that garden podcast right after this one, though. My wife and I have got a couple questions for sure.
that's awesome.
Glad to have you. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. Right below me is half of the gruesome twosome. That's him right there. In solidarity with Dean, no hat. He's going no hat tonight. Jim Kelly throwback jersey. That's my boy Jared Reed. Jerry, what's going on tonight?
You know, it's good, exciting. We got less than 10 days before the draft hits up, and I'm glad that I am here with you guys tonight because over the years I've had the privilege of watching Scott get really into this draft, and what he comes up with, and when he talks about the draft, it's magical. But he has his guy he must look up to right below him tonight, and he's going to take lots of notes. I know he is because he loves the drafts, and so does Dean, and it's going to be fun to watch these two. That's why I have participant underneath my name because I'm going to watch these two go at it tonight, and I love it. Bills Mafia, let's have fun tonight.
I have nothing underneath my name because I'm just going to make fun of Jared for using words like magical.
That's wonderful.
I've never said those nice things about me before, so
They say, what, are you guys related or something? This is
I
crazy.
was going to ask him what he's drinking tonight.
It's like he must have got it from a Viking ship, I'm guessing. What are you drinking?
A little Blue Moon Extra tonight.
Oh, nice. Nice. Right next to me over here, my brother from another mother, the other part of the Terrible Twins. That is Mr. Scott Reed. Scooter, how's it going on the computer?
Welcome. So far, good. You know, it helps when you restart everything and you power up the internet, and everything runs faster that way. But I'm glad to be here. This is a fun time of year. And like Dean said, if you're not talking draft at this point of the year, I don't know what kind of Bills podcast live stream you're doing. But Jared, you're right. I have always been involved and interested in the draft, but a new sparked interest when we started joining the fan base. And since following Dean's lead with the charts, the colorful charts that he makes up, and the work that he puts into it is well worth the read and the research that he makes it easy for us, the guys that love doing this stuff. So I'm glad to have you here, Dean, and I can't wait to see what our draft looks like. And do you have a Bean's number, or do you want us to text him when we're done just so we can send him our draft so he knows what the big board should look like?
Yeah. I have his private number, and I'll be happy to let you know. The only person that's ever talked to me when I sent him the because I sent him the Google sheet every year. It was Brian Dable. One time
Really?
He said, "Appreciate you," and you know, I had it framed. You know,
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
that was really cool.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
they have analytics guys that have billions of cells to them. You know, that it's like they're charting more things than exist. So
Yeah, the matrix that well, even with your sheet, and we'll get into having you explain your process and what all this stuff means and stuff, but it's so impressive to me to be able to like organize and compile and keep it all straight and be able to just, oh yeah, no problem, we're asking him questions before we went on the air, and he's like, yeah, if you go here and here and here, it'll show you what he had for breakfast yesterday and what he thinks of his mother, and it's really impressive. It's insane.
Just no social security card or numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
Numbers on the back. That's all.
Guys, we have so many people in the comments. It's going to be one of them shows where I'll be throwing them up while we go. I don't think I'll be able to get to everybody. We got a lot to get to, and these boys got switch over sleepovers, so actually they got to be done right at 9:30. So we're going to try and bang right through it. Before I get too far, I wanted to wish Mr. Patrick Hughes an early birthday. He turns 40 years old tomorrow. Thank you for spending the last
Happy
night
birthday.
30s with us, Patty boy. He's an OG from the very beginning, and we love you very much, man. Thanks for watching. Also, we are part of the Buff fan base, as I mentioned earlier, and we're super proud to be. This is our fourth?
I think we're going on our third.
Third
Mhm.
year? season?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, okay. Third season with the fan base, and it's been amazing. And also, as part of that, we're sponsored by 26 Shirts. Point to it, Scott, right over there. Nope, other way.
Other way.
Yeah, and there you go. 26 Shirts, go to 26shirts.com. Dylan and the gang got all sorts of great stuff cooking up. You can help a Western New York family in need. You can look super fresh with the best designs, the most recent gimmicks and topical pictures and all sorts of greatness. And they'll spend your money better than you do and help people out. So please go to 26shirts.com, give them all your money, and tell them that Dean and us sent you. All right.
That's right.
Going on from that, I don't know, Dean. I kind of want to just get right into it. Is it okay if I throw your stuff up here and we'll
Yeah,
get
we'll explain some colors. First
right.
of all, the darker the green, the more I like the player as a fit for the Bills in that round. The I've used different colors, pink for the positions that are defensive and blue for the positions that are offense. The schools are separated by color in terms of SEC, Big 12, ACC. And if you'll notice, there's just a awesome number of SEC and Big 10 players that didn't used to be true. Being really started off with the ACC. That's slipped into third place now. And you don't see very many AAC or Big 12 or anything like that. I think that he's kind of gone away from that. The 2024 column tells you a scout score, and I have to explain what scout score is. So if you have one game with one scout, that's 1 point. If Bean comes to your game like he did for South Carolina twice, you get 3 points extra per game. If Joe Brady or Bobby Babich appear, you get 2 points extra. Tropicana gets you 1 point. Shrine gets you 2 points. Senior Bowl gets you 3 points. The McDermott, Aranda, or Diaz connection gets you 3 points. Combine meeting workout gets you 2 points. Pro day attendance gets you 2 points. A virtual meeting gets you 2 points. If a position coach comes to your pro day, it's 2 more points. And a 30-day visit is 5 points. So that the total of that leads you to believe that the top 3 contenders here would be Nick Eamon-Wari, Matthew Golden, and Jahdae Barron. Those would be ones that you would trade up for. And down closer and closer to 30, you can see guards, offensive tackles, a slot guy, Emeka Ibuka, and then Walter Nolan at 11. Harmon had a 14, just for comparison, and then Donovan Jackson, another guard, at 14. Want you to pay attention here to number 38, Tyleik Williams, and Trey Amos at 20 and 18, respectively. The yellow means that they actually had a 30 visit. So it sure looks to me like a good policy would be to trade down a bit, like 4 or 5 slots into the second round. I'm giving you permission to skip Thursday night.
Not during our show, though. You can watch our show.
Sorry. Be sure you watch, because you never know what he's going to do.
You want to be there when he skips again, like he did last year.
Yeah.
Right. Now I do watch an interview for each player, and the best interview in that range was that of Benjamin Morrison, who he had a hip injury, and you said, what's going to happen there? Well, if you have 4.39 speed and you've had a hip injury, you're hoping that you can get back to your ability to shadow and mirror and stuff like that. They say he's on course to be back Um, and and the thing that's really interesting here is look at 39, 40, 41, and 42. They're all cornerbacks.
Yeah.
So uh, if you traded down to 38 and then you traded up from your other two picks, you could get your defensive uh, your one tech
Yep.
as is your first pick, and then trade back to get your cornerback of choice.
Dean, with the Benjamin Morrison pick, you said a hip injury, and when you look at man coverage versus zone coverage, you think with an injury like that, you would hope that this individual goes to his zone coverage, so he's not really reacting to the receiver the whole play. Where if he's in a zone, he doesn't have to have too much pressure on the hips and joints and stuff like that. So
Right.
if an injury makes him fall to us because of the scheme we have, I think that's a great thing.
That's a great thing, and it could be that some of these players got a lot of looks after the season, and they are watching film. Okay, they're not necessarily going to games, so that's why I had a sliding scale this year for different kinds of involvement, and you don't have to go to as many games to decide whether you like a player or not. I also keep track of what did they do what did they do when they were at those games.
Right.
So a great example is Tyleek Williams. Okay, he's had a 30 visit, he's had a pro day, had 4 jet visits to Columbus, which is where Ohio State is, I believe.
Yep.
They attended the Marshall whooping, and then they also attended the 45-0 drubbing of Purdue, and then they actually had some competition against Indiana, and then they had the Michigan game. That's the one that Mullings, the running back, Khalil Mullings, ran 32 times for 116 yards, and Judkins went 12 for 48. Trevion went 10 for 21. They just ran the damn ball, you know. So anyway, they went to a lot of games. I don't see that with somebody like Savon Ravel. They never went to a game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But having him in for a 30 visit, saw him at pro day, 1 jet visit to his hometown, and you get 4 points for going to the Senior Bowl. So that's a factor. Plus he's from the AAC, so most of his competition has been in the AAC.
Right.
So that shows you what the first round is, but it'd be like tedious to do this with every round. Let me do one more round though. Let me go down to the 56 pick right there. You've got TJ Sanders at 50 with a 16 score. You've got Landon Jackson and edge with a 15 score, a visit, but no 30 visit announced yet. And then you have Quinshon Judkins of Ohio State. Yeah, but who were they there to see? Well, Judkins had 81 explosive runs of 10 yards or more over the last 2 years. So he's still one of those. You want an angry runner? Don't discount the possibility of taking somebody that was kind of off. That's off the rails, but
yeah,
the best interview in this area was Trey Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss. He's an ex-receiver, wonderful speaker, and he went off on Kentucky, 11 for 176 yards and a touchdown against 2 other pretty good wide receivers, Dane Key and Barry. What the hell's his name? Barry and Brown, both of those two did not declare for this year. So Darius Alexander, in contrast, he's a one tech from the MAC. He got a Scouts score of 6. So we're hearing some people say, including our local sportscaster here in Rochester, saying that he's great, and that very well could be. But I think he's staying away from first team all MAC players versus people that are seasoned in forged in steel like SEC and Big Ten.
Right.
The one last thing is down here. You have the players that would possibly get to the 62 pick. Alfred Collins would be my vote, but Braden Swinson is right there. And Swinson has had wonderful time at Oregon and then joined LSU. The one thing I like about him is what I hated about Jerry Hughes, and that was that he minds the back door. He applies pressure on 17% plus of his pass rush attempts over his career. And then he had a 30% win rate when it was a true pass rush set. So that's a really helpful. If you still need an edge by pick 62, Braden Swinson's your guy, and I like him and Jordan Birch, but the two injuries that Birch had probably drops him for me.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to look at the information in a different way?
Yeah.
Let's look at it this way. I've stacked them up, the schools, by scout score. A couple of them needed 2 rows just to show you, but the turquoise is the Billsy players that I think that they are interested in at that school. But looking at it by school, it kind of helps you, especially if you're doing mock drafts at home. You want to hammer some out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look down the first column, you can go like, okay, Walter Nolan. Do I want a second Ed Oliver in this defense? Well, maybe. Do we need a strong safety at some point in the draft, or are we happy with what we have now with Nick Eamon-Wari? Will Jihad Campbell be there? No. Would we take Josh Simmons left tackle if he was there and Derek Harmon wasn't? There are a lot of good questions. I don't think Jahdae Barron is going to be there, and that kind of takes you out of the scout scores of 12 and higher.
Mm-hmm.
But look in the next column. You've got Trey Amos and Nick Scorton, and I know that several of the podcasts love Nick Scorton as the edge that they would like, and it's very possible that we could use an edge. I think we're looking at DT and cornerback for the first 2 picks in either order.
Agreed.
And I think we're looking at X receiver as opposed to the slot guy. So
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
I still think Curtis Samuel has still got something in the tank, and the turf toe kind of got in his way. So that would be the news we just heard before coming on the air would boost California's scout score to 13, and that is that Teddy Buchanan had a virtual. So now Teddy is in a really good spot for we have like 40% of our picks are within 169 to 177. So we'll have most of our work done in the span of 8 picks. he's in that span. So anytime you see 170 anything, he might be a Bill. So he has a good chance. So you can get, Isaac Tesla at 173. You can get JJ Pegues 3-tech at 170. You can get Q Robinson for an edge down where you should be taking an edge. So that kind of thing. Dante Thornton would be a wonderful guess for me. Is if we're looking for a speedster that has some size.
Yep.
That's kind of what. And he didn't play only X at Tennessee. He played tall slot now and again, so he could back up Keon, or he can take his rightful place as one of the three that are out there on most plays.
Now, when you mentioned defensive tackle, we're looking. Would you prefer a DT3 or a DT1? Tech one.
DT1 to take over for what's his face? Daquan, yeah. So it's very, very possible that because of the quantity of 3-techs in this draft, that you could get one in every round and be just really happy. And they've done their due diligence. Let me show you the defensive tackles, and I'm going to show it to you in a different order. I'm going to show it to you in 1-techs at near the top.
Perfect.
There.
Yep.
There we go. These are the 1-techs.
I'm sorry, that Watson guy, 447 pounds. Oh boy.
Oh yes. Desmond Watson, and he might be a PFA, but most unique player in the draft, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he actually has a scout score of 7, and Cam Jackson, 6'6", 328. He plays a backup in a 3-3-5 right now at Florida. He'd be in that range where we're going to be making most of our picks. So I hope he's not the first 1-tech that comes off the board. I really, really hope it's Grant, Williams, or Alexander. And I'd even throw Alfred Collins in there. His long arms would be something that next to Rousseau, you've got a lot of arms there.
Yeah,
taking up half the field.
Yeah,
you're right. Those guys sitting there, Dean, double dipping defensive line, Tech 1. Daquan Jones is on his last year of his 2-year contract. So maybe it's time. It's time.
And it's nice to have him around so that he can pass the information and the tricks of the trade on to the next newbie. I think it's very interesting here that the 30 visit in the 1-tech room is Tyleek Williams, and that he's there at 38. So that to me is definitely the best interview, I got to say, was CJ West. He's short, but very effective. He actually had more career sacks than Darius Alexander or Alfred Collins.
I've heard comparison to Poona Ford with him. He's short, stocky, and takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, nice. That'd be a nice comparison. My PFA of choice is Amari Thomas from Tennessee. He is a sticky in the middle kind of guy, one of the fastest big guys going.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to scroll down here to where the 3s are.
That description of sticky inside guy, it's kind of like moist when you hear that word moist, but sticky inside guy, it's like that just fits perfect. That's the kind of guy you want inside, right? He's going to just glue everybody to him. And for a guy that's inside, you want him to take people with him so the linebackers and the other guys on the line could get after it. That's a great description, something you never hear, but it worked perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many times you can get away with that phrasing, Jared, but you're lucky it's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Sticky in the middle. Anyway, my favorite 3-tech is TJ Sanders. He's the only guy. No, that's the only school that Brandon Bean went to twice.
Interesting.
Okay? South Carolina is the only school that Bean went to twice. So that might mean something. He's in for 30, and Omar Norman Lott, for the number of starts that he had the most career sacks. He had 13 career sacks and only had 5 FBS starts, which is incredible to me. So that's that 18.8% pass rush win rate gets you somewhere.
And again, it's showing yellow, so he had a 30 visit.
Yes, and the blue here said that they actually had a visit at the combine. So Vernon Broughton has to be mentioned if the Bills somehow acquire a third rounder, and I think by trading down they would get that third rounder. That would be a really good guess for the other one. I'll put in my pitch for Elijah Roberts. For it, if it's possible to move up to get around 142, Elijah Roberts would make a really, really good, effective guy for as far as the number of sacks. One of the things I noticed is that at the Shrine Bowl, he had the sack to end the first half. His wingspan is 82nd percentile, and over the last 2 seasons, he's had 17.5 sacks. So so productive, experienced, and that would be a good one. Blue, I got to tell you, Blue is wrestler. Thor Griffith is a wrestler, and he'd be a nice guy to bring in as a PFA. I don't think he's going to get drafted, but that would be my guess there. And they interviewed Zeke Biggers. He would be a PFA as well. 3-tech in a 4.25, 6'5", 321. So that's it. The Bills have drafted a lot of ACC players over the years. The ones that have stuck have been on the defense. So that would be a good one there. So back to the scouts here. You want to end up with a few requirements here. I want 7. I want 7 guys, not 10. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want cornerback and 1-tech in the top 3 picks. I want to draft at least 3 from the Hog Molly section, the offense and defensive line.
Gotcha.
I want him to make 4 picks in this draft that are top 100 on my big board. And I want him to acquire at least one 2026 pick. So I was trying that a couple of ways, and that would be a good example of we'll try to do a draft where we follow those rules.
Yeah.
You want to try it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's hit it.
Okay. So I'm gonna. Okay. So this is fan speak on the clock. I have a premium membership. So you're not seeing any ads, and I can make trades. One of the trades that I could do, I could make it at the beginning, or we could make it when we get to our pick. It'd be nice to see who was there, though.
Right.
So let's start the round and see what happens here.
And Dean, I got the I like using Draft Tech's trade value chart. So if we want to start making a trade, I can pull you up, guys, and I could just tell you exactly if the trade is what the value of where we're trying to get is, and see if potentially the value chart what that recommends.
So it would be nice here to assume that we'll get Harmon. If we traded down a tad, I'm going to show you a different I'm going to show you something here, and that is who needs picks. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
going to show you here who needs picks. I did my own little mock here, but the teams that are listed in green need edge. The teams that are listed in turquoise need cornerback.
EVs.
Ones in yellow need defensive tackles. At the top of the round, you want to draft before the Jaguars or trade with the Jaguars. Okay, so trading with the Giants because we know Schoen, and it's very possible that they take Abdul Carter and are looking for a quarterback. So we could trade with the Giants right now, and we know that the first three teams there are probably not going to take Harmon second time around.
Right.
Okay. They're looking for other things. So let's do that. What could we get for a trade down with the Giants? Let's see.
So Giants right now we trade back with them. They're 560 points. So we would gain. How many points is that? That's 60 points. So we could get looks like a mid fourth rounder for that trade. If we took the Giants 34th and they took our 30th, we can get
that third.
That third would
that?
265. That might work.
Let's propose it. Decline. Okay. So the other ones we wanted to get in front of the Jaguars. So try trading with the Patriots, and that's always fun. So,
well, Dean, try this. Go to the Giants' fourth round pick, the 105th pick that they have.
ooh.
So trade away our 30th for their 34th and their 105.
Okay. So I'm trading 30 for
34 and 105.
like that.
I can't see it.
You can't see it.
Oh, all right.
So, yep, that one. Guys, also what brings the interest to it, you got to remember, like offensive tackles, cornerbacks, wide receivers, and quarterbacks right now are guys that you want on a fifth-year option. So anybody that hasn't got the guy that they want, like a quarterback, like the Giants, if they didn't get a quarterback with that first pick, they might want to come back into that first round to try to get that fifth-year option quarterback. So anybody that needs one and hasn't got one might come in at this pick.
So is the value of that equivalent?
I don't think so.
So the Buffalo Bills have 620 at 30, and the Giants will have 560 at 34 on top of their 80.
He doesn't have. You need the round there, that 34 pick. He's got
round 4, 84, so 105. So it's round 4. It's like their third pick in the fourth round, Dean. And get rid of that round 335.
Yeah. I think that's what they've refused. Hang on. Oh, they accepted it. Who cares? Okay.
Right. I think we just traded our first rounder for 2 third rounders. So
I think we did too, and we can start over if you'd like. One of the things that I've done before is get 4 picks in the top 100, and that's kind of what I was thinking about there.
Yeah.
So let's do this. And you can okay. Bills.
The Bills.
6 rounds. Dean Kindig, big board. Okay. The rest of these I'm going to stay the same, difficult, fast. All of the big boards are pretty good, so add some spice to the round there.
I like it.
All right. Okay. I don't want Shador Sanders, but Jihad Campbell is 16th on my board. And Donovan Iziraku is 29th on the board. But all of the other players are there. The one who's not there is, well, Tyleek Williams is. I'd be interested.
Available.
And Amos, I think, has already gone. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like someone took him before.
Green Bay freaking Packers. So that's.
Damn it, we shouldn't have restarted. Golly, I'm just kidding.
Anyway, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna propose a trade that drops us down just into the next round, and right at the beginning of the next round. And we're going to get another. Let's see. If I have to offer up one of my 4s, that might do it. Nope. I don't know what Schoen is doing with his Giants here.
Forgot who you were.
Try one more. Get rid. Take ours away. Keep
Okay.
the first. Take ours away. Now take that round 3, pick 1, and go round 4, pick 20 or pick 3.
There.
Yep.
Okay. Their round 4, pick 3 is still in the top 100.
Their round 4, pick 3 would be. Hold on.
96, 97, 98, 99. I think it's 99.
99, right?
Oh, it's 105.
105. Okay, that's not terrible. They still didn't like it.
Sean's pissed at us.
Yeah.
He's clicking now.
You pissed at us because Saquon went off last year. What do you want us to do, man?
Now, according to the trade value chart, that's an equal trade.
Right. How about 6 and 13? That's a little rich, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
That's around 100 too. And if I couldn't make this trade, I think probably what I would do is just take the guy I want.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy I would want may not be who the guy you want is. I would take Tyleek Williams here, thinking that I have a pretty good shot at getting my corner next. Are you guys happy with doing that, or do you want to try another trade?
Revel, Hairston, and Thomas are all corners that I've had not being too bad for the Buffalo Bills. Hairston is more on the shorter side. Buffalo doesn't tend to go towards their short guys unless they have return ability, but Revel and Thomas are still available. So I would be good with that. Grab our guy, Tyleek.
Dean, is there a cornerback that you have tucked away at your back pocket, though?
For later, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually have 2, and that's because they behave well in zone, and we'll see if it works.
Okay.
Let's take Tyleek Williams, so we have our 1 tech off the board. Now we could think about trading. Maybe it will offer us a trade anyway. There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Round 221.
I'm tempted to do this one with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's round 2, round 4, the ladder pick, and round 5, the ladder pick. We would still have a couple of 5s in there as well.
We would still have another second rounder too, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's a good.
And we accepted it, and now we have the 21 and the 24.
I like that.
We still have pick 7. So now, let's see how we do here. I'm not trading anymore. Now we're going to look and see who we have in both edge, wide receiver, and corner. Darian Porter, Jordan Hancock I would have for a nickel. Jacob Parrish and Noel Williams are 2 of the guys that I've been thinking about. California is actually one of the 6 schools that the Bills had the most eyeballs at. and the other one is Denzel Burke. He's down at 120. So Darian Porter did very, very well in the scouted game. I believe he had 2 interceptions in the game that was watched. So there's that. Makuba, Winston are here for safety. Edge right now has Landon Jackson, probably the most scouted edge, and Jack Sawyer, one of the neatest personalities of the edge class. So you've got good choices there. Or you can go back to the well and take Alfred
There's
Collins.
Alfred Collins. Yep.
That would give you 2 1-techs.
Yep.
So now Turner and Farmer, we could take with the pick that's coming up in 3 more choices. So let's not do that. Let's take one of these corners. I lean toward Porter only because size and teachability. I think that he could be a good one there.
Do you think that we've learned from that cornerback position that I know Elam kind of hurt us with the whole man-to-man guy trying to convert him to a zone guy?
It's a good
Do you
point.
think that we're sticking more towards a guy that has some more experience with the zone?
Yeah, that really could be. See, one of my tendencies here is if I don't have Noel Williams or Parrish, who I consider better in zone, I sometimes look and see what wide receiver is there, and I bet you the one that had the best interview is there. Trey Harris. You also got Jaden Higgins. Right. So Trey Harris had the best interview. Bond has been docked quite a bit here, and he might even be off the board. Jalen Royals is an option, but I would propose another trade if I decided I wanted to do that. What do you like? I'm happy with getting either speed later on.
There's a lot of for wide receivers.
Somebody like Jalen Royals. That's a tough decision there.
I mean, guys, the Darian Porter out of Iowa State is a 4.3 40 rusher, 6'2", almost 200 pounds, good size. He does specialize in man. That's what he goes for, but he also grades pretty high compared to the other guys in zone.
I like the idea of having a chameleon back there because we got stuck with a man corner before.
Yep.
And this isn't going to be the only corner we take.
Right.
So,
No.
So let's do it.
Yeah, because you both said that he does have a little bit of experience more often than not than Elam did with that zone. So I'm okay with a guy that's man-to-man that has seen a lot of zone that produced good numbers with that too. So.
And Jacob Parrish, he's only 5'9", 190 pounds. I don't like the small guys out there.
Yeah.
Wide receivers are getting bigger.
Yeah. So you have kind of the double choice here. They really scouted Turner and Farmer a lot. And Texas A&M had a scout score of 10. Texas had a scout score of 10. Florida State had a scout score of 11. So those are the ones that are up there right now. I'd be tempted to take either Turner or Farmer. And if we wanted to, we can look back here. I'm going to show you Turner and Farmer on this chart.
Turner scored very well. Apparently Turner scored just like, and I'm not saying he's him, but Myles Garrett as far as his numbers go. So a lot of people are itching to get someone like that on the edge.
And I think Javon Solomon is a whole different ball game. It's like we want somebody that's more like, there they are. So Shamar Turner at 70 and Joshua Farmer at 74. You have SEC versus ACC. You've got size and speed in Turner that you don't have in Farmer. Farmer's been more productive over his career, and he has a better pressure rate. So again, that's a toughie. I think I would go with Joshua Farmer. Both of them had great interviews. Farmer's a little bit bigger and might have the advantage of, especially if you're going to be next to Tyleek freaking Williams.
Sometimes when that's the thing about these athletes is I saw the numbers was 0.66. He had the highest rating there. You don't necessarily have to have the fastest 40, the fastest cone drill, the bench press. It's the ability to get yourself into positions that you need to be in to be successful. And it looks like this young man is getting into the right spots. So when you're scouting some players, do you look at what you see on your paper or what you see on the field? Because at that 0.66, was it Farmer? I would think that would be the guy that you would want because he seems to be productive when he's given the chance to be productive. So that's the guy I would go with.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
I see his name flashed around everywhere for Buffalo.
It would also be not the last defensive tackle I take because I've got to have my hog molly quota.
3.
We don't have a pick in round 3. That's my only beef so far is that we didn't get a pick in the round 3.
And the Bills would like to be there
right away here. So a couple of things. Restrepo came in for a visit. Noel Williams is one of my favorite zone corners in the draft. And like I said, California got lots of looks. We probably will be taking another 3-tech before we're done, but it would be sure nice to fix the CB problem for good.
Yeah.
That kind of would be my pick. Clemson had more visits over the year, but most of the Clemson guys went back to school. That's why the Clemson numbers were bigger than. So I like Broughton as well, and he had the personality. Restrepo is size and speed, but I can get that on the next pick, I think. So let's take Noel, okay?
Just real quick, because
Yeah.
out of curiosity, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at your spreadsheet here, and you got Noel and Dorian like neck to neck here, and it looks like the scout score for Dorian Strong was 7 points higher. What I guess I just wanted what makes you want Noel more than Dorian, I guess.
They went to more games.
Okay.
Dorian was an afterthought after the season. What that sometimes means is that they've watched film, and that's a good thing. But like I said, they didn't scout Virginia Tech much at all last year or this year, which I thought was interesting. Last year they didn't scout California, but this year they did. It's just interesting. We'll see what happens, but he'd be a good choice here, I think.
No, I'm good with Noel. I was just curious. With
no, good question.
I just wanted to know.
And one's at 111, the other one's at 112. So it's
you were like, "Yep, I want Noel," and I was just like, "Oh man."
Now we could pull another trick here, and that is what we could do is we could trade James Cook before the running backs come up.
It is hilarious that you're bringing that up because the round 5 is about the position. Can you go look at running backs real quick for our round 5?
Yeah.
The question I had for Dean, and I brought this up to him earlier because I'm very interested in this because the conversation with James Cook, with demanding the 15 mil, you got fans on either end of the fence. Don't pay him, pay him. God forbid if he holds out. He's making $5 million this year on his contract. That's how it worked out to end his year. Is he going to play? Kind of like situation. And I guess we'll find out as they draft. If they draft someone in the second or fourth round, we'll figure that out. But we'll also figure it. You think that would be something they'd figure out before the draft came, is if whether or not James Cook's going to play or not. Who in this draft? And I'm going round 5. That's a lot of times where I did my mocks. Who in the draft do you compare, just in case that fit was going to hit the shan, as a running back for James Cook?
Did you practice that? That was good.
No, it worked. He made it happen.
Well, one is already gone, and that's Trevion Henderson. That's too early to do this. If you did it that early, and you took Trevion Henderson, let's say with your first round 2 pick, you could at that point offer James Cook to whichever team didn't get Genty. Okay. Now it to me, it looks like the Bears and the Raiders, but going back and forth about who might get Genty, and which means it could be somebody else. But anyway, we could wait as late as the last pick and take LeQuint Allen from Syracuse.
I like it.
And that would be the best blocker in the class and one of the best receivers out of the backfield in this class. And we would have we'd have a top 3 running back room anyway.
For sure.
So that's a good point. And the other one I would suggest is nothing like James Cook is Phil Mafia, and that was he is the best blocker that also is a good game breaker. He can break more tackles than most of them on here. I've heard comparisons of Dylan Sampson and Jaden Blue to James Cook. I think that we can get somebody better in terms of receiving experience.
Gotcha.
Neither of those guys had a lot of catches against AP ranked competition, but
it's interesting to see what Bean's going to do, because when he first started drafting running backs, Devin Singletary got very high grades for breaking tackles. I do believe Zach Moss also in college was one of the more breaking tackles guys. And then they go after someone that hardly touched the ball as far as running and was known as a receiving back out of James Cook. So it's like, where's he going? And if he's going for the latter, you would think, let's get a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield, but instead of a guy that can't block, a guy that can block and maybe be out there more than 46% of the snaps.
Yes. I know that the one that seems to be getting a lot of interest in terms of eyeballs is Rocket Sanders out of South Carolina. He's faster than Cook. He's about the same size as Cook. Bean went to 2 games. In one of the 2 games, he had 20 carries for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. And added 92 more yards on 5-for-5 receiving. So he's the complete package, and I just wanted to mention the name because I think that he's one of those guys that's going to come up in that 5th round.
Yep.
5th round. So that would be good. Back to here though. If you'd like, I can propose the trade that then brings us a pick like right away, so you can take either Dante Thornton or an edge or somebody else.
I like Dante Thornton, so let's see what we can.
Let's see if I can pull one off here. Okay, the next pick is the Minnesota Vikings. That's good news because they don't have as many picks. I'm going to call it the future round 2 pick. That's code for I'm trading James Cook with the Vikings, and they will send pick 1.
A Cook going back to Vikings. That's something.
Let's see.
Full circle.
Got it. All right. So now we'll start the round. Pick Dante Thornton.
There you go.
Now we have size and speed down the hill.
So what did we give up for that?
So we just gave up James Cook for basically we traded James Cook for Dante Thornton. We still have to get a running back.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it'd be nice. So far we have the hog molly count is 2, and I need 3 hog mollies.
Yeah, one more.
The offensive tackle right now is not that interesting. I'm not wild about Travis or Gray, but Q Robinson got a lot of looks. Powell Ryland is falling because of short arms.
Mm-hmm.
But Batty and Diggs are heavily scouted, and Diggs is from Syracuse.
Yes, I did on 24/7 Buff Animonium's page a big board look at Diggs. I'm a fan of Diggs.
Yeah, I would take him. I would take him now with no questions asked. Yeah, we can wait. We can wait if we wanted a third corner. Adams down
to go on Fadil Diggs, guys, he's a 4.25 edge. He interviewed well, 6'4", 260 pounds, so he fits that mold at the defensive end, but he comes ripping off the edge at a 4.5 40. So even if he could chase down these running backs if he has to. And it's a Syracuse, so I know they scouted. He got a couple points for probably on your list there, Dean.
Yeah,
if he's there, I think we do need to address the edge position, and I think that'd be a good pick.
All right, we've met the hog molly requirement, which is very important. And now because we're in that time where we're going to be taking 3 picks out of 5 or something like that, we're essentially looking at the same board. We have right now we have that Jordan James, and Khalil Mullings, and there's Raheem Sanders. We could even wait another pick to pick him out. We don't have a linebacker yet, and Milano's going to retire. These are 2 good ones, Cody Simon and Kobe King, and I like Jalen McLeod as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 3 right in a row there.
Dean, is Dolak getting drafted, or is he going to be an unrestricted, undrafted free agent?
I think it'll be last round. I think he's going to be one of those guys that's last round. That's kind of why I put him at 242. Dolak doesn't have the same measurables as Buchanan, for instance,
mm-hmm.
or McLeod, but he certainly has the for instance solo tackles per game. So he's good at that. We might be able to wait, but this would be a good time to take a linebacker, and King and McLeod are really good choices. Let me show you.
Yeah, Kobe King, 6'1", 250 pounds, bigger than all the linebackers we have. Cody Simon is a guy that I did a big board on, inside linebacker, 6'1", 239. Not the fastest guy. I know Kobe King is a little faster than he is. They're like 4'6", 4'7", 40s. But I think those are 2 good spots there.
So if I sorted this by solos per game, the ones that would come up are Dolak and Teddy Buchanan. Okay, at the near the top. Kobe King, one of the best run defenders, and guess what we sucked at last year?
Yep.
Run defending. The other one that was really good was Jalen McLeod of Auburn, and the only difference is Jalen McLeod plays more outside linebacker, but at 241, and Kobe King plays inside linebacker at 248.
Yeah, right. It's big.
Most eyeballs of all of the players, a Penn State linebacker usually works pretty well. So maybe that's what we do is take Kobe King here.
Shane Conlon, baby. Let's bring back that Penn State linebacker.
Penn State University, linebacker university. I was also going to say Chris Spielman's from Ohio State. So we got good choices from college linebackers here coming. But if I was going to say anything, I think 248-6'1" sounds like a thumper to me, which is something we've kind of been missing at that linebacking core. I know Bernard is a hell of a linebacker. If Milano's leaving in the near future, I think Bernard can take that position. And then if we get a thumper in the middle, I think that's going to fill in good for the next coming up years.
Dorian Williams only has 2 years on his contract. I know he kicks ass. He's good at run defending as well.
Dorian.
But you can never have enough linebackers. They rotate the defensive line. They can use those linebackers up.
Well, and you got a coach that molds linebackers into extreme beings. So I think, it's perfect.
Now, you already solved the wide receiver spot with Dante Thornton because you probably needed another big guy and a fast field stretcher guy, and you got him in the same person.
Yep.
You may not need Tesla or Jalen Lane here, but those are certainly considerations. The other thing to think about here is do you want another tight end? Because Aronde Gadsden is sitting there right now. So that's a possibility. Q Robinson is also there if you wanted to take a second edge.
Is Gadsden got a pedigree? Is that the wide receiver from the Miami Dolphins, Gadsden?
It is, and we could really piss off a lot of Dolphins.
I'll tell you what, Dean, if he's available in round 6, I've seen him mocked in round 4 a lot of times for tight end. So if he's there, we do have Kincaid, we do have Knox. I think right now the Davidson is that third guy, but he's a 6'6" thin guy that's not going to
right. If I go to tight end here and I look at all of the things and say, okay, who did they rely on? And I'd show you yards per carry or yards per catch. Okay,
17 yards.
AP ranked teams. Guess who has the highest yards per catch against AP ranked teams? This means he's a field stretcher, and the ones above him, Arroyo and Lachey, they did not have 10 catches. So that's why their numbers are small there.
I'm liking that. 6'4", good size, 240, 4'5", 40.
It's quick.
And
this would be considered a steal in this round, don't you think, Dean?
So I think so. It's very possible that he moves up into the 170s, 160, high 160s. He really helped his case with a 4.56. Up till now, it hadn't been that fast. So, so he's actually the top, the top wide yards per catch guy in the tight end class, and we just got him.
And he fits the scheme too.
Yeah. If we're getting thin, in size and stretching the field like a Kincaid's a master at the zone. It'd be nice to be able to take that safety deep and have someone come underneath and like a Shakir, because we just signed him for an extension. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Now you think I've forgotten about running back, but I haven't.
Because
Allen right there. There he is. You felt it.
Is LaQuint Allen.
Yep.
And we are passing up some good talent to get him, but we have already traded away our number one running back and think, how could we possibly do that? Well, it was LaQuint Allen. We have as much receiving capability with LaQuint Allen and as much blocking capability with LaQuint. That was actually a beef about Cook, is that it was his blocking at times. So we're taking him with our final pick, and nice job. What always says nice job, so I can't.
Dean, I think you called that in the early rounds that was the guy that's going to be there for the pickings. And with a guy like that who can run like Cook but also can block, our guy Josh Allen, back here, he's getting older. So if we can have somebody that's going to fill in those gaps when there's a blitzing linebacker,
How dare you say that Josh?
well, it's the truth is he is. You
He's
know
gonna
that
stay until he's 57.
I know, but we need to have a running back now. It was fun in games when you can scramble, but if we're slowing down, we're in a prime. But if we want to slow down in the next 4 years, we need a running back that can block for us. And I think if he can do it, let's get him here.
Yeah. And I'm not taking away from the running backs that we have in the stable anyway.
Oh no.
I think that they probably can do very well in free agency. I'm going to write an article this week about what guys would be there for the Bills and suggest 50 guys that the Bills could take in preferred free agency. You know, maybe who are the best 4 at each position kind of thing. I'm tired of doing my pick 6 articles. So I think I'll do something different and concentrate on the bottom of the draft. So, well, I know people have got places to go and things to do.
Well, I just want to throw this out there. I know we didn't get any interior offensive line. Remember, guys, our starting 5's coming back. All the depth is coming back. And Cromer does an amazing job with developing these guys. So there are actually a lot of linemen that will be available in the undrafted free agency. So practice squad guys that come up. Alec Anderson, guys, he's part of the 6 that come in and does an amazing job. So
exactly.
Cromer does a great job at developing these guys, and because we have 10 of those guys coming back, we have plenty of room to start developing these guys with the undrafted people.
And I've already taken a look. There are even guys. There's even a guy at Spencer Brown's school whose brother
Penning.
Yep. That actually Spencer Brown kind of coached him through the whole process last year. And of course he didn't come to the Bills, but
the Penning brothers have a nasty streak to them. So they're pretty play to the whistle kind of type of players that you want on your team.
That would be a neat one. And it's like we have our 5 if we can work it through. It'd be nice to have somebody waiting in the wings, but I think we already have 2 waiting in the wings. So
yeah, they said we've had like the top 8 or 9 offensive linemen in the league. So if you guys want to look to see the progression of a player, look at Spencer Brown. 2 years ago, people were on his back, getting him out, whatever. But Cromer did his thing and got him to be one of the best offensive linemen in the league. So you can bring an average offensive lineman in here, and that's why the Bills have the top 6, 7, 8 group in the league, is because of the head coach there. And Mark Maddox always says it. The players have their ability, but the coaches put them in the right spots and teach them the right things to get them to where they need to be. Spencer Brown is a prime example of what a good coach can do. And I'm glad he's here, and whatever the future brings, it's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And that also makes it easier for the Bills to trade away an asset like James Cook, because you and I aren't going to do as well behind that offensive line, but you know, with somebody with some speed and some receiving and blocking ability, I don't think you're going to see any come down if you bring in somebody like LaQuinn Allen, Phil Mafia, Rocket Sanders, Khalil Mullings.
Yep.
There you go.
I agree.
Love it.
That's kind of been the approach towards running backs, I think, for the last 10 seasons maybe, where it's like you don't pay them. Like there's only a handful of guys that get paid that big money, and there's a lot of guys that can do a lot of things. And I love James Cook, but he cannot block. And whenever he was in, they knew that he wasn't pass blocking. So that is a problem for sure when you have a dynamic quarterback like Josh Allen. So as much as I love him, I think that's kind of like a little bit of that like leftover Billsy kind of stuff, right? Where we love him and we want him to stay forever. We want everybody to stay forever, but this is kind of like a new time, a new generation. It's the quest for the Super Bowl. It's the quest to get what we want and to put the best team on the field we can. So, yeah, it's a great position to be in. But I agree. I think literally any of those running backs can do a great job behind that offensive line. And
is it a coincidence? is it a coincidence that we always seem to have good classes in the positions where we have some needs that can be addressed?
Yep.
It's like this would be a terrible draft to go ahead and look at for a center.
Yeah.
Right. We've been lucky enough to have a lot of depth in the draft in the years that we need to fill those positions.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. So,
well, Dean, thank you so much for being a part of this. You're a wealth of knowledge, and it makes it so fun to sit here and pick your brain and go through all these different scenarios.
Oh, I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I don't know how I'm going to get through the next 9 days. I guess I better go garden again.
Melatonin, man.
Melatonin. Indeed. What a lot of people like to do is create a buttload of mock drafts from here on out, and then when you nail it, you just pick the one that you got right and post it the next day saying, "I nailed it. I told you guys the whole time."
If you send it to me, I can Photoshop it together.
Make it look like.
What I'll do is I'll post the one that we just did and pop it up there.
Yeah, great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I took a picture, but if you're gonna do that, send it and I'll share it everywhere.
All right. All right. I'll post it in a second. So
great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, we just go around the horn here and do our final thought. So, Dean, thank you so much. If you want to let everybody know where to follow you and what your final thought is for tonight.
It's buffalofanbase.com, and I'll bring out the one for preferred free agents. People can look at and read about the players that nobody's talking about. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing to say is that if anybody has an in for tickets for training camp, I always have trouble getting into camp. They've figured out that if I walk in backwards, that I'm not leaving. So I have to do something different this year. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Absolutely. Jerry boy, what do you got?
No, it's awesome. A lot of listening tonight, and I think sometimes you just need to sit back and listen, and that's the best way to learn. And watching Dean do his magic and tell us everything. If you just go back and watch the show and watch it over again, just take it all in. They're not all going to be hits for us. This is just an opinion, but sometimes some people do the research and their opinions have a little bit more weight. And Dean's one of those guys that does a lot of work to get to where he's at. He's got all these, visits and charts and stuff like that. So pay attention what this man has to say. It might not always hit, but he's close. He's damn near close to it.
Right on McCade and I was McCade and Knox. I nailed those, and I nailed Khalil Shakir.
There you go.
So I was like, I'll just keep on throwing it at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you want to get an idea of what the Bills are looking for, listen to this man. I can't wait to be back next Thursday. We're not going to be here Tuesday, but we'll be back Thursday for the draft party, and it's going to be a 17-hour show. I can't wait to be there. Sponsored by Otis and Lisa's, and what's the bar again?
30 Jacks.
There you go.
Nice.
Can't wait to talk Bills football with you guys. Be prepared to be surprised for the 32 picks that happened that night, and I can't wait to talk with you, Bills Mafia and the Fandemonium. Love you guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Hell yeah, nice, Jerry. Scooter Magooter, what do you got on this beautiful Tuesday evening?
Guys, if you like the insight that you received tonight, you can always follow Dean Kindig on X. You can follow the fan base because he posts to that on X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And 24/7 Buff Fandemonium's Twitter page. We also share the crap out of it. Next time, I challenge you. Next time you do your mock drafts, pull his check out the information he gave you tonight and see what your mock looks like. You may find that it's pretty helpful in making the decision a lot easier. There are players that fit the scheme. There are players that do not fit the scheme. But it's still going to be fun. And I can't wait to see you guys next Thursday, 4 or 5 hour show. We're pick 30. So we're going to see the Bills pick around 11:30 at night. We will have beer. We'll have wings and pizza and commercials and guests and all that good stuff. And I can't wait for. Yeah, Jared's got some commercials in there. Wait till you see that, Swank. He's like commercials.
Cool.
But can't wait to see you guys next Thursday. Long draft show. So join us and we'll talk about all 32 picks for sure.
So we got pink pills, green pills, and yellow pills.
Yep.
Commercials. No, I was kidding.
I thought you guys were going to be doing double mint. Anyway,
there you go.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Real quick, the show in Buffalo on Wednesday was awesome. Thank you so much, Corey, Buffalo Spartan, the Johns, all you guys that came out and supported and hung out. It was an amazing night. It was probably one of the top 5 best moments in my whole musical career. So thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And Ironworks loved us. We'll be back, and
Nice.
knowing that happened. So excited about that.
Who played there, Sank? What's your band name?
The Endless Mountain Derelicts. We opened up for Jackson Stokes out of St. Louis. It was a great night. It was awesome.
Beautiful.
Also, Thursday, I will be at the draft show, but I will be there later. I got picked to be in a big competition in Rochester for songwriters, so I will be late, but I promise I will be there, and I'm sorry that it was short notice, but the Reed boys here are going to take real nice care of yous. And Dean, man, pop in on the draft night if you want and say hi for sure. We'll be taking some Zoomers and StreamYarders and all that kind of good stuff. So neato. But for myself and everybody else here on the panel, thank you so much. Have a great night, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go.
Talk to Beanstalk, tail Jack, go and fetch your bank. Try that and upstate boy to a different kind of scene. Went off to college, but college turned out me. Couldn't get my master's in truth and loyalty. I said, whoa, light that fuse and run. I said, whoa, I am my father's son. Let that fuse and run.